I cut off my mother after she accused me of being in love with my stepfather, but today she asked to meet, and what she confessed shocked me. I, 21, have always had a good relationship with my mother, who is 46, and that didn't change after my parents divorced for personal reasons. However, things took a turn when my stepfather, 37, entered our lives. My mother has always been a bit eccentric, but she was never hurtful, and she always made sure my older sister and I felt loved. That changed when she started dating my stepfather. While I got along with him and he respected my privacy, my mother started acting differently. At first, subtle things like, "You two spend a lot of time together," and "You're getting friendly." I brushed it off, mostly because I didn't think much of it. My stepfather and I only spent time together when I visited my mom. Yes, we joked around, but it was harmless and never inappropriate. Jokes like, "Looking like death today, huh?" We never got physical. He has always been respectful and never poked each other or other playful touches, as I do not feel comfortable with being touched for personal reasons. As time passed, my mother's comments became more aggressive. I started to distance myself from both of them to avoid ruining our good relationship, though I didn't know what I was doing wrong. One day, my mother invited me over for coffee and cake, and during our conversation, she suddenly asked if I had feelings for my stepfather. I was caught off guard, shocked, and mostly confused. I told her no and asked why she thought that. She said it was because we were too close to be friends, and she noticed how he looked at me. I reassured her that while we got along well, I only saw him as a father figure and didn't feel anything romantic toward him. I also reminded her that she'd always wanted us to get along. But then she got angry, accusing me of lying and insisting she wasn't blind. The conversation escalated and I stood up, telling her the whole thing was ridiculous. I left, and she began texting me things like, "I can't believe my daughter would betray me," among other hurtful things. I didn't respond, so I talked to my older sister. She advised me not to engage with our mother for a while, saying that she thought our mom was acting entirely out of character. So I took her advice and stopped visiting and talking to my mother. It's been 2 months of no contact, and today I received a message from her asking if we could meet up to talk about what happened. I'm torn because, on one hand, I don't want to meet her after everything that's happened, but on the other hand, I'd like to resolve things and hear her side. Update. After 2 weeks of thinking about what to do, I texted my mother and agreed to meet her at a cafe, as I didn't feel comfortable going to her house. Of course, I was nervous, not knowing what to expect. When we met at the cafe, we didn't hug like usual, and my mother looked like she hadn't slept in days. Before I could speak, she immediately apologized and admitted she was wrong. That caught me off guard, as I hadn't expected her to apologize so quickly, but I was relieved she did without any argument. I asked her why she would think something so awful about me, especially since she knows me better than that. The moment I confronted her, she started crying, something my mother rarely does, which left me in shock. I did my best to calm her down. Once she had settled, she confessed that my stepfather had been cheating on her for a year, and she had found out just a few weeks before she accused me. She told me she didn't know who the other woman was and had been trying to gather evidence. Each day, her paranoia grew, and she started seeing signs that weren't there. She was hurt, overwhelmed, and not thinking clearly. She never meant to hurt me. Hearing this left me in shock and then angry. Angry at my stepfather for betraying my mother, hurting her, and making her feel like she isn't enough. Without hesitation, I sat beside and hugged her, reassuring her that I forgave her and was there for her. I asked if she needed help, and she said she'd let me know. For now, things between my mother and me are okay again, and I'm doing my best to support her through the divorce. My older sister is also aware of the situation, as I've kept her updated after each meeting with our mother, and she's also offering her help.